Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the show here tonight. You guys are listening to newsstreamingnetwork.com, home of Going Solo and Going Bold, and our wonderful radio station, WGSN-DB, Going Solo Network. We are so pleased to have you here with us on this show. It's called Date the Right One, and I am your host tonight. I am Cece Shatz, and we are going to be talking about a subject that a lot of individuals don't want to really talk about. Confidence in the bedroom, why intimacy matters for strong relationships. And our guest tonight is supposed to be Jeff Abram. And unfortunately, he's not here yet. So I'm hoping that he will be here shortly. Maybe it's a time mix up. A lot of times we do get that when they're located somewhere else, and then they get the time zone a little bit mixed up. So I'm hoping that he will join us here tonight because he is going to be our problem solver, and we're going to be talking about the dysfunction, and really, he's got some products that he wanted to be able to share, and that might very well be something that is that might help you out, because let's face it, I did a little bit of research on it, and it said it's predicted in 2025, which is last year, there'll be 322 million people, men, that are having ED problems. And so that is really, really something terrible. And a lot of it is based on heart disease, diabetes, obesity, prostate cancer treatments, mental health. And what I was really shocked to find out, 40-year-olds are really, really also, they're 40% of 40-year-olds. And then from 70-year-olds, 67 to 70%. And then 80-year-olds, you're looking at 80% having problems. So it is a huge problem. And let's talk about that because, I think the connection with sex, right, is really important. And the reason being is because we want to talk about the confidence that it gives us. So why intimacy matters for strong relationships. And number one is your emotional bonding and your trust. Sexual intimacy is a powerful way to express love and affection, which helps us build trust, reduce, and increases feelings of safety in a relationship. Now, we're not going to talk tonight about hookups, right? We're not going to talk about one night stands. We're going to talk about building a relationship with someone. And so that's what we're talking about when we're talking about building confidence within a relationship. So our, when we're building, right, I'm all about relationship building, right? And so when we're building something, we want to be able to continue on with the growth of that. And that's really what we're talking about, not the one night stand hookup type of thing. I mean, I'm like over that. I don't know about you guys, but in my age group, I think that's a little bit over with. But anyhow, the next thing is communication and security. And we talked a little bit about the safety in relationships before, but couples have a higher intimacy level, often experience better communication. They foster positive cycle of increased relationship satisfaction. And so when we're in that zone, right, and we really do feel that connection with someone, and that is why intimacy is so important. And so when we have problems in the bedroom, and I'm not saying it's all men either, because there are women that are having problems too. And I'm hoping that Jeff can address that, if he comes on tonight and on those things. And if something happens and he doesn't come on, we'll try to get him to come back on, because we're talking about this part of it. And then maybe he can talk about our problem solving on the other part of it. But so when we're talking about that, we're talking about really that true connection we have. And so that's physical and mental health, right? Intimacy is linked to reduce stress, right? It lowers our cortisol, and improves mood. And we all need our mood improved, don't we? And so it really strengthens our immune system, and it aids in pain management. Because, as we get older, we have a tremendous amount of trouble with our immune system and also with managing pain, because we have a lot of things that are having a little bit of difficulty. Now we're getting a call in, so I'm just going to take this call. So hold on just for a moment. Hello. Oh, hello. This is Cece. Yes. Yeah, I'm on a live show right now. Yeah. Are you on the correct link? I sent you another link. Did you get that one? Yeah, and then sometimes you have to click going through. So our audience, I'm sorry, but they're waiting. We're talking on the phone. So if you, we're trying to get it sorted out for him to come on. So yeah. So just tell him like when he goes in, I should see him when he comes into the studio, and then he just should click something that'll when he enters in on that link, then he should be able to click through and come right into the studio. Okay. Oh, and you have to, I'm sorry, I might not have told you this, but you have to use Google Chrome. I wonder if that has anything to do with it. Okay. All right then. Okay, I'm just going to keep on talking because my audience is used to that, and then he's hopefully will pop in. Okay. All right, super. Thank you. All right, bye-bye. Okay, well, that's good news because he's trying to get in. He hasn't been able to get in yet, so we're hoping that he will. So I'm going to buzz through some of these things, and I'm hoping that that will help. But the other thing I can do is call him, and maybe we can just pipe him in on the phone. So maybe we'll do that. So anyhow, let's go on to that. And then we want to talk about resilience during conflict. A strong, intimate connection creates stability, making it easier to handle life challenges together. And that's really what a relationship is all about, is handling life's challenges together, because it's not easy in this world today. And when we have a partner, there's someone that we can grow to hopefully love and we have that true connection with, we can really just conquer anything if we just put our heads together and we work together on it. So let's talk about building confidence in the bedroom. Define your own sexy. And I love that because I'm going to keep popping back and forth to making sure that I see him. But define your own sexy. That's confidence starts with self-care, feeling comfortable in your own skin rather than adhering to external expectations. So let's get real. We as older individuals do not look like we did when we were younger. I mean, I didn't even know I looked good back then. Now I realize, hey, I look pretty good. But the reality is you have to be confident in yourself, right? And it's not about performance. A lot of us think that it is truly about performance. And I know Jeff can probably talk about that when we hopefully get him on. And I'm going to call him back when I get through some of these things. And if he isn't in here yet. So, but yeah, so it's really truly about knowing who you are and have confidence in yourself, right? I mean, of course, the first time around, when you're together, the first time of being intimate is always a little crazy and hairy and sometimes not even all that great to begin with, right? But that's a lot of the jitters, and when you get that out of the way, everything else works out fine. So communication needs. Openly discussing desires, boundaries with the partner can increase sexual satisfaction and address desires discrepancies. So what that really means is like really truly talk to your partner about what you like, you don't like, and what you want and whatever, and just go with it, because I think when you're open and you share with someone about how you feel and what you want, and it's really, you're building that confidence again, you're building that relationship building, and you're creating a safety zone with each other, so you're letting them know how you feel about that. So I think that is important. Embrace, we all feel truly like, wow, when we are going through something like this, when we start building a relationship and we're all going through and we all feel our insecurities and all of that stuff. So openly discuss with your partner, and allowing your partner to see your authentic self, including your fears, your insecurities, builds deeper and a more secure bonds. Again, men have the same insecurities about different stuff that maybe women have, but we all have it, right? We all have that kind of stuff. So if you can really expand on yourself and kind of get out of your own zone, right, get out of your own head and really talk to your partner about things and share things with them, your partner can help you through a whole lot of different different equations, different things that you can do. So yeah, I think we got Jeff here. Okay, let's bring him up. Hello there.
How are you?
I am pretty good. I am terribly sorry about the difficulty you had joining us here tonight.
I was in 2 empty studios. I was looking around and go, where's the host? But here
Oh
you
my gosh. Well, I'm so sorry for that, but I'm so glad you found us here on this one. So, Jeff Abram, you are the CEO of Promescent. Am I saying that? How do you pronounce that?
Promescent. Promescent.
Promescent. Okay. And so you really are the leading sexual wellness brand, and you're really focusing on intimacy, confidence, and connection. And we were talking a little bit about before you came on. We were talking about having confidence in the bedroom. We were talking about building confidence in the bedroom, and then really sharing with your partner how you're feeling, how you're going through, and all of those things that we start. And at the beginning of the show, Jeff, I shared, which is very shocking, I shared some of the stats with regards to, to ED. And so it is growing leaps and bounds, it seems like. I mean, even our 40-year-olds are having difficulty, and it could be about a lot of different things. We were talking about heart disease, diabetes, obesity, mental health, all of these kind of things. And mental health plays a huge part of it, because when you're having difficulty, you really get down, right? You really start feeling a little bit depressed about it. So before we get into, and I said you were going to be our solutions guy, right? You're going to tell us some things, because it's not all about men. I mean, you and I talked about that before. And so we're going to also help some of the ladies here. But let's talk a little bit about how you started in the business of truly helping individuals, with this problem that we're having now.
I tell people that I probably took the most circuitous route possible to be the CEO of a sexual wellness company. I was the CEO and founded a semiconductor engineering recruiting business, and I sold it and I retired at age 53, 15 years ago. It just so happened that my neighbor, good friend, and doctor all rolled into one. Dr. Ronald Gilbert had started with a single product called Promescent, which was a male product to help delay ejaculation, which helped couples both achieve climax during intercourse. So it started off where I was helping Ron and assisting him. I invested in the company. Tragically, he was murdered in a case of mistaken identity. And I took over the company to give him a legacy, provide for his family. And here we are 15 years later, north of $15 million a year in business, in Target, in Walmart, in CVS, in Wegmans, in HEB, in Meijer, and growing. And we have a full line of products. But everything has been done in his honor. Everything has been done in the way that would make him proud. He was a healer. He was a urologist. He didn't believe in, snake oil, or just make something and make a bunch of money really quick and sell one to everybody. His philosophy was educate people, have them buy the right product for the right reason, and then make them use it correctly, so we would have every year more and more satisfied long-term customers who would then buy across the product lines and recommend it to their friends. Our growth has been mostly organic, fueled by happy people that achieve a higher level of intimacy and refer others to us. So we've been very fortunate, but our mission has always been the same. It was founded by a urologist who was a great human being and a great doctor, and we followed in those footsteps. But we now have products that obviously our flagship product is to help men last longer. And let me make one thing perfectly clear. Premature ejaculation is a real issue. About 20% of it is mental. And unfortunately, a lot of the old wives' tales and comedians will say that a man who rapidly or premature ejaculates does so because he doesn't care about his partner and he's not concerned about her well-being. There could be nothing further from the truth. Anyone who has an issue wants nothing more than to satisfy his partner, but not limited to, but including, there are physiological reasons why a man rapidly or premature ejaculates. Hypersensitivity to the penile nerves, low testosterone, prostatitis, there's many, many issues. So that was our premier product, and it still is the largest lion's share of the business. But we also have products that increase blood flow, that help people that have firmer, more rigid erections. The same product, it increases blood flow, helps women's libido. It helps women after the age of 40 continue to moisturize and not, because of menopause and getting older, lose the ability to naturally moisturize. That same product is called VitaFlux. Gives both men and women increased blood flow. It also softens up the epithelial layer. Every vein and every artery in our body is covered by an epithelial layer. It's very supple when you're young. It allows hormones, vitamins, and minerals to absorb, and it keeps out bad stuff, bacteria and viruses. Mm-hmm. As we age, it gets even better keeping bad stuff out, but it starts keeping good stuff out. So this product also softens that epithelial layer. So it's good for both men and women. We have arousal gels for females that help heighten the arousal. We have a line of proprietary vibrators that have been received very positively. So we've expanded the product lines across many different areas. We're a couples-based product company. We believe in the ultimate enhancement is communication. If you're not communicating, it doesn't matter what else you have, you're not going to be responsive to issues you're not aware of. So we always tell people, what's the best tool to bring in your toolbox into the bedroom, into an intimate relationship? It's communication. Now, once you communicate and you find out what areas that a person might have needs in, then it allows you to go, let me augment my performance in this particular area. Let's make one thing perfectly clear. With sex, it's not one size fits all. People have different desires. Certain things turn people on, certain people don't. I can tell you as a man, almost every female body is completely different in terms of arousal level, in terms of what they want. There are some women who are like, I have a very sensitive labia, very sensitive clitoris, touch lightly around that area, but really aggressive touching, whether it's oral, whether it's fingering, whether it's whatever, makes me really sensitive and uncomfortable. There are some women, they might have a bit of a hooded clitoris, they might have a little different anatomy. They're like, get a cinder block, put sandpaper on it, I need really direct stimulation. That's why we have two arousal gels. One's a buzzing and one's a warming. The warming is if you're a little more sensitive. The buzzing, if you go, hey, bring it on. I need maximum sensation. So we always tell people that communicate and pay attention to your partner. Don't ever go into any new relationship and go, I got all the moves. I'm the smoothest. I know exactly what turns her on or what turns him on, because what turned your last partner on may not turn your next partner on. It's up to you to be perceptive. It's up to you to communicate, to watch and listen. And I always tell a lot of my men friends, because having been in this business for 15 years now, I feel like I'm an amateur sexologist or urologist or therapist. And a lot of times men will say to me, my girlfriend or my wife or whoever is uncomfortable. They don't like me to go down on them. I said, if you ask why. No, she's just uncomfortable. I said, do yourself a favor, do her a favor. Say, hey, and it doesn't have to be right in the moment when you're down there. Go, why are you comfortable? Next time, you're having a conversation over lunch or bring it up in the morning, go, I noticed you're really uncomfortable and, you pull me back up and I go, what's the reason? Because I found out that a lot of times a woman actually enjoys the idea of cunnilingus, but she's a little bit uptight and uncomfortable because she might think the smell or the taste or whatever might not be the most pleasant. And if you're communicating, she should leave it to you to make that decision. But a lot of men enjoy it and enjoy pleasing their partner. So don't presuppose that, hey, don't go south of the border, you know what I mean? Because I'm uncomfortable. Hopefully you have enough trust and confidence in your partner and communication that if there indeed is something that you can work through it, no matter what it is. So that's why I say communication is so important for both men and women.
Yeah, I so agree with that. Now, I did put up on the screen here the website, and you've also given us a discount URL. So if anyone is interested in looking at the products, just go, and I'm going to spell it out for you. Just go www.promescent.com, and then it's backslash, the code is WGSN-15. So 15. So yeah, so have a look at that and see if there's anything. I mean, if you're having some trouble, let's just be real about it. If there's a possibility of fixing it, let's fix it. Let's yeah.
Take the shame out of it. Let's take the stigma out of it. I asked this question, and I'll ask it to you, and I already know what the answer is because you appear to be intelligent and with it, and you're going to answer it. Does a cancer patient ever feel guilty or ever feel shame about using chemo? No, of course not. Does a diabetic ever feel shame, or does a diabetic ever feel uncomfortable about using insulin? No. Then why would couples be ashamed or afraid of using and want to hide the fact that they're using a product to enhance their sexuality? Like I had mentioned previously, if a man is prematurely or rapidly ejaculating, it might be hypersensitivity to penile nerves. It might be prostatitis. Could be low testosterone. Those are physiological issues. Why would you be hiding that? If a man has erectile dysfunction, sometimes there's nerve damage, sometimes there's blood flow damage, sometimes there's, certain men just don't have the proper blood flow. There should not be any shame in that. Here's another thing I'll tell you that most people aren't aware of. So we think of premature ejaculation, and the American Urological Association, as well as the Sexual Medicine Society of North America, define it as a man never lasting more than 90 seconds during any type of sex ever for any reason. But statistics done in sexual wellness centers will tell you, let's step out of the realm of premature ejaculation. Let's talk about healthy males and healthy females. The average man lasts 5 minutes and 42 seconds during penetration and thrusting before orgasm. The average female takes 18 minutes of penetration and thrusting to achieve climax. There's actually a term for it used in urology and therapists in sexual therapy, and it's called the arousal gap. That's why there's 7 trillion vibrators in the world. That's why guys stop and start, and think about their grandmother naked, and
everything you can think of, right?
Yeah, all these crazy things to try to take their mind off of the passion, take their minds off of anything. There's not a man alive, if he's honest, that will deny that he's ever had the situation where he's being intimate with his partner and he's getting close to climax, and he's well aware that his partner has not climaxed yet. And there's a little devil on one shoulder, a little angel on the other shoulder. And the devil's going, oh my God, this is going to feel so good. Finish. I can't wait. Oh my God, this is going to be great. And the little angel's going, not yet, not yet. She's not there yet. You need to hold on. You need to hold on. And intimacy and anxiety are two completely separate emotions, and they should never mix, because anxiety kills intimacy. So if you can use something that allows you to go from thinking, do I want to give her 1 or 2 orgasms before I finish, as opposed to, can I last long enough to finish? The answer is, I'd rather have the ability to say, I know she's getting 1. You know what I mean? Like, maybe I can last long enough to give her a second one before I'm done. Now, I'm not saying that as a goal, because you're meant to please your partner, not punish them. In some cases, a person's not going to have a second orgasm. Your goal isn't to go 30, 40 minutes, because we've had people, I'm very interactive with customers who use our product, and I've had some of them go, I last a half hour, I need to last an hour. I'm like, are you pleasing or punishing your partner? Okay. If you're lasting a half hour, you want to last an hour, maybe you need a little work on your technique as opposed to lasting another 30 minutes. That should be enough to get the job done. Okay. It's right. Please. And, I'll give you some other myths and misconceptions that are really mind-boggling. I remember Cosmos, when I first took over the company, it must have been around 2013, maybe 2012, did a survey. And I think it was 1,000 women. And they said, what one thing could you do to make your intimacy with your partner more pleasurable? 73% of women said longer time during intimacy, a longer experience of actual intimacy. Then they asked 1,000 men, and I think 82% said bigger penis. And I started laughing. I'm like, that just shows you that people are not communicating. A man's going, I need a giant penis. A woman's going, you got plenty. Why don't you last more than a minute and a half? You know what I mean? And it might be Pleasurable. So it's one of those situations that it just shows you how there is a lack of communication, how men are thinking this is what we need, and women are going, no, 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 that's not what you need. This is what you need. Another thing that I'll tell you that's really important, I turned 69 in a month, and I'm very comfortable with my age. And, you know, it's not anything negative. Everyone ages. Everyone just shows you how long you've been on the planet. Do I wish I was still in my 30s? Yeah, especially with the knowledge I have now, you know, as opposed to back then. But I will tell you, I'm glad that I came in my sexual awakening when I was 15 years old, that I wasn't doing that right now in this day and age. And I had a cell phone from the time I was 11, and I had watched porn. And so before I was ever intimate, I had this distinct impression that the average man had a 10-inch penis, that it was the circumference of a beer can, that he lasted, you know, 45 minutes. And right before ejaculating, he got up, ran across the room, and shot his forehead in a partner, dead aim from 40 feet away. These kids now are racked with anxiety, okay? And they are literally, by the time they have sex, they're already going, I don't measure up. No one watches every basketball game and goes, they have to be 7 feet tall and dunk a basketball with a 360 windmill. No one watches golf and goes, I have to hit a hole in one every single hole. But we have this stigma about sex. Everyone goes, oh, they're so curious. They're so interested. They want to see what everyone else is doing. And if you haven't had a sexual experience and you don't realize that you're able to please your partner by being creative, and most people have normal anatomies, and it's the same thing for women. You look at Shape magazine, you look at, you know, all these women's workout magazines, and you see these women with 36-inch boobs and 21-inch waist, you know, and like 3% body fat. That's not real. You know, in my life, I've known a few
in our 20s, maybe, but
yeah, yeah, and I've known a few people that were models for fitness magazines, and some men who are on. They diet and they photo shoot, they tan, and they even them. That moment is not who they generally are walking around. It's all completely scripted. We have the good fortune of having Johnny Sins, who was AVN's Male Porn Star of the Year in 2021, 2022. Really endorsed our products and loved them. He just reached out and said, hey, I love your products. And he happened to do some roles, you know, and I remember going out to lunch with him, and he was telling us how even porn isn't real. They take 47 different shots, different angles, and how a lot of the men in porn videos are either on Viagra or Trimix shots to have 4-hour erections, even though they've ejaculated, you know, that kind of stuff. And it's just crazy. And a lot of the women's orgasms are completely fake.
Yeah, absolutely. I actually interviewed a gentleman years ago who was a porn star. And that's what he said. He said, it's not real. He said, none of that is real. And the whole thing is, you don't have that connection either, you know, and that's what we all really strive for. I mean, great, sure. Maybe we all enjoy great sex. I mean, not saying you don't, but at the end of the day, it's really who you're with, and that you're going to see that person in the morning, and that you're going to be together, and maybe be there the next night. And that's what you're really looking for, is that connection. And so you want that connection, you know, sexually, sure, but you also want it, you know, long term. And that's why I said at the beginning of the show, we're not talking about a one night stand here. We're talking about building a relationship. We're talking about keeping a relationship. There's a lot of individuals out there that, you know, are getting divorces because they have this problem, and they don't really want to talk about it, that they have a problem, you know? So then the woman thinks, oh, he's not interested in me anymore. And it's really not that. It's medically, or vice versa. She's not, you know, into it anymore. And it's not that way because she's, you know, she has other factors, not just maybe medically, but other things. So yeah, there's a lot more to it than just
that product I told you about, VitaFlux, about blood flow enhancement. It's got 3 amino acids. It's got L-carnitine, L-citrulline, L-arginine, zinc, and magnesium. It increases blood flow. When you increase blood flow, it increases libido. Every single year from the age of its onset between 35 and 38. Every year, you lose 0.5% of lean muscle, you gain 0.5% of body fat. It's because your hormones aren't absorbing, because that epithelial layer hardens. This reverses that. When your epithelial layer hardens and your hormones don't absorb, you lose desire. You lose libido. So in some cases, you might go, oh, she's not into me anymore, or she might say he's not into me anymore. It's not that at all. Your hormone levels are dropping. It doesn't matter who you're with. You're not going to have the same desire. You're not going to have the same, for women, the same ability to moisturize. For men, the same firmness in erection. So those things are natural, and there are ways to overcome them, natural ways to overcome them. That's why it's important. And even though we're the #1 best-selling sexual enhancement product on Amazon, we're available in all those retail stores I was telling you about, I always tell people start at Promescent.com, because there's a lot of blogs, there's a lot of articles. Educate yourself. Make sure you're buying the right product for the right reason, #1. #2, make sure you're using it correctly once you decide what product to use. There's tutorials from the president of the Sexual Medicine Society of North America. There's tutorials from all these different people. So you want to go there and educate yourself to buy the right product for the right reason and to use it correctly. That's very, very important. So it's incumbent on every relationship to explore and make yourself the best you can be. I always laugh because I see people all the time. They're getting facials. They're getting their hair cut. They're getting their hair colored. They're going to the gym. They have a personal trainer. They're buying the latest in fashion. Let's face it. Let's be real. If the planet was all women or the planet was all men, they wouldn't be doing that. A lot of that's done to make yourself more attractive to the opposite sex, to attract a partner that you're really into. Why would you go to all that and then not spend time or money and time to make sure you keep that relationship by having the best intimacy you can have? If you're going to put all that time and all that energy into attracting the person, make sure that you're also focused on keeping the person. And the best way to do that is mentally keep yourself fresh and make sure that you have new things in the relationship to inspire the other person, but also make sure you're having the best intimacy possible. And that doesn't mean you have to have, if you're a female, an orgasm like Elizabeth Berkley in Showgirls, where you're on the side of the pool flopping around like a that is out of water and losing his mind. It means experiencing pleasure. Another thing that I tell people all the time, don't be so caught up and you both have to have an orgasm during intercourse, because 60% of women don't regularly orgasm through intercourse, okay? So there's nothing wrong if a woman, climaxes during oral, with digital penetration, with your fingers, whatever, okay? Just make sure that your definition of good intimacy is both partners are satisfied and happy. It doesn't have to be that you have sex for 40 minutes. You both have to have an instantaneous, monstrous climax, and the earth is moving, and all that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, are you both satisfied? Are you both comfortable? I've talked to people that have regular, ordinary sex lives, and the man lasts 4 minutes and he's happy. His partner is happy because maybe she has a climax even prior to intercourse. And one of the things that I tell a lot of men who might suffer from rapid or premature ejaculation is I say, listen, put one in the bank before you even start intercourse. If you know that your partner already has an orgasm prior to intercourse, in your mind, it takes the temperature down, because like you said before, anxiety and having these issues can lead to mental issues where you're already going, oh my God, I hope I can last long enough, even before you start intercourse. The anxiety is not good. If you've already given her an orgasm prior, then you're less likely to trigger prematurely because the anxiety is not there and you realize she's already had an orgasm. Another one's a bonus. So I always tell men, put one in the bank, bank it before you start, so that no matter what. Because I tell people this, and I mean this, a man who rapidly or prematurely ejaculates, the effect on the partner is more pronounced than the man, because the man is still ejaculating just rapidly. The woman's like, excuse me, I'm over here, like, hey, what about me? And a lot of times if it happens to the man, he sits there and sulks and he's embarrassed, and that's the end of it, rather than go, hey, let me do whatever I need to do to make sure that you're satisfied as well. And one of the reasons we came up with that line of vibrators is studies have shown, and we're very integrated into the urology community. We've had over 4,000 people buy product on our website, and we have something called Zig Poll, and only 8% of people fill it out. But it says, how did you find us? And the only way to get on that list as a physician is for someone to say, Dr. Mohit Kira, Dr. Wayne Hellstrom recommended me. You're not going to believe this. We had 4,000 different doctors that we've found. So in talking to them, they will tell us, a lot of women even like to use bullet vibrators during intercourse with a partner, because they can take that bullet vibrator and put it directly on the clitoris, which doesn't receive direct stimulation during intercourse. And that increases the chance of a woman climaxing during intercourse. But we had to educate and talk to a lot of our male customers, because a lot of them are intimidated. Oh, why does she need a vibrator? That means I'm not a good lover. That kind of a thing.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Oh, trust me, the most fragile substance on earth is the male ego, without a doubt. So what we try to convince people, especially men, is your job is to give your partner the highest number of intense orgasms as possible. It doesn't matter if it's with your fingers, with your penis, with your mouth, with the vibrator. Make sure she's happy. Make sure she's satisfied. Make sure she's climaxing as many times as intensely as possible. If you do that, you're guaranteeing your own pleasure. Because trust me, if a woman goes, this guy's funny, he's a good provider, he's a great dude, and not only that, I'm having many frequent intense orgasms, she's going to go, I'm not letting him get away. I'm making sure that he's happy too, okay? So
absolutely,
they're going to look at you like you're Gandhi, okay? They're going to look at you and go, oh my God, this guy's always thinking of me. What you're really doing is ensuring that you're going to be pleasured, okay? So it's a win-win situation. You get to be known as the most unselfish lover in the history of the world, but all you're really doing is making sure you're getting yours, okay? Because
that's the trick. We're gonna have to take a real quick commercial. When we come back, we're only gonna have just a few minutes, so we'll wrap up the show. But I love everything that you're saying. This is a fun show, actually. So everyone, please, I want to make sure you guys get that discount URL. Just go to www.promescent.com and then the /WGSN number 15. So it is going to be in our show notes. So you guys have that. You can just click on it and go right into it and be able to check out all the products that are there, and then understand what your problem is if you have one. And then maybe we can get it solved for you tonight. That would be great to do. We're just going to be like 30 seconds. You guys hang tight, and then we'll have some closing words from Jeff when we get back. So I want to thank you guys for listening to us here tonight on Date the Right One. We'll be right back, everyone. Well, we're back, and you guys are listening to Date the Right One on newsstreamingnetwork.com, home of Going Solo, Going Bold, and our radio station, WGSN-DB, Going Solo Network. Today has been a crazy show. We're talking about confidence in the bedroom, why intimacy matters for strong relationships, and we're really talking about sex. And so it's it's prevalent out there that there are individuals having difficulty, especially as we get older. As I said, at the beginning of the show, it said I did a little research on the National Institute of Health, said in 2025, and we're in 26 now, there's going to be 322 million people that are having difficulty in that. And so, if we've got some solutions here on the website, I'm hoping that maybe that will be the answer for you. So just go to the website, which is www.promescent.com. And then if you want the discount, you do the /WGSN 15 and see if there's any products there that can possibly help you. So Jeff, tell us a little bit more. We're going to have to wrap up the show, but do you have any last closing words for our audience?
Yeah, my closing words would be, don't worry about shame. Don't worry about being apprehensive. Be open, explore different options to enhance your intimacy. More importantly, be open and communicate with your partner. And don't look at even masturbation as something completely negative. People in healthy relationships still masturbate because it helps you get to know your own self. It helps you get to know your own pleasure zones, those types of things. And it's very important that you view sex just like you view every other bodily function in your life. No one gets all uptight about, urination or anything else. These are bodily functions. Sometimes I think religion creeps into it. People get all weirded out, you know what I mean? And it's like something other than it is. You're aroused for a reason, okay? It's a physiological function. It's very positive. Get the shame out of there. Get all of the anxiety out of there. Embrace learning and educating yourself. Embrace communicating with your partner and breaking through barriers where you can tell your partner your innermost desires and not feel judged. To me, that's when I know I'm in a good relationship, where there's no boundaries. Everyone has thoughts. Now, if they're weird thoughts and you act on them and you're like some stranger and you end up going to jail, now that's bad, okay? But fantasies are positive, and you should be able to communicate those. If you are feeling something is unmet in your relationship, don't leave it to hopefully they stumble on it, because maybe they never will. Maybe it'll be 2 years later, you go, I wish we'd have done this the last 2 years, especially when you're my age, about to turn 69. I don't want to waste any time. I want to make sure that I'm pleasing whoever I'm with, and I'm going to make sure that I'm getting mine as well, and that's a very good feeling when you're in a relationship where you can say anything, you're not going to be judged. They can tell you anything, you're not going to be judged. And I think it brings you closer. And the closer you get, the better your intimacy is, because you have that connection of a emotional and a physical bond. And plus,
Absolutely.
when you get to this age, you enjoy every orgasm much more because they're more infrequent, and you have a limited amount left in the bag there. When you're a man, I always use this analogy. When you're in your teens, in your early 20s, you're like a machine gun firing bullets all over the place. There's a never-ending supply. Blah, 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 I don't have to be real precise. Then you get in your 30s, and you're more like a semi-automatic gun. Then you get in your 40s, you're like a rifle. You get that one shot, you got to reload. You get to my age, it's like a musket. Where you have that thing, you put the ball in, you got to put the powder in, and it's like, I tell people, because they have something called inter-ejaculatory latency time, how long you last, and then refractory period, how long before the next time you can go. And there's a point in your life where you go, 20 minutes later, I'm ready to go again. At my age, when's the next time you're ready to go? Well, a night's sleep, 3 meals, a workout, 24 hours later, I'm good to go again,
You're funny. Well, I think and I'll just close out the show, but I tell you, it can be fun. And that's what I think we need to embrace, and be able to have that communication with our partners and make it fun. I mean, I know that it could be a medical thing, but there's problems can be solved. And so go to the website, see if there's anything on there that can possibly help you if you are having a difficult time. And again, the website is www.promescent.com. And then if you want the discount, you just do the / WGSN-15. And so just go in and see if there's anything there that would possibly help you. And ladies, I'm telling you, if you're having trouble yourselves, because the show is about date the right one, if you're having difficulties, just, let's face it. I mean, it is real. Sometimes it's just it is the way it is. And so we just have to accept it. And so if there's some products on there that you think might help you, I would say go for it, guys and gals, go for it, and just see what it can do for you. But the most important thing I can leave you with is the communication, the connection that you're building. And sometimes when we have difficulties in something, when we bond together trying to solve that and having fun along the way, it really creates a great atmosphere all the way around. So I hope you guys, if you're out there, I hope you are dating the right one and you guys are keeping that communication open. So please, you guys, understand that it could be something that's medical that can be solved for you. So go to the website, Promescent.com, and check it out. We've got the links right on our show notes. So there's no excuse. So if you're having any problems at all, please take us up on it. All right, you guys are listening to newstreamingnetwork.com, home of Going Solo and Going Bold, and our radio station WGSN-DB Going Solo Network. This show is called Date the Right One. I am your host, Cece Shatz, and I am a divorce, dating, and a life coach. And I hope you guys will check out my website on goingsolonetwork.com and connect there. If you're single, we would love to be able to have you join some of our groups and things like that. So we want to thank you so much. And Jeff, thank you so much for joining us. And I do apologize for the difficulty you had coming on.
No issue at all. It's my pleasure to be here.
Well, we can always have you come back, and maybe we'll have you on our other show, which is, Let's Talk Dating, because they're always conquering, problems out there for singles. So we want to be able to have you connect with them. So anyhow, everyone, we've got to run, but I love you, and thank you so much for watching the show here today. It is very important that we bring all of this great information to you. So we'll see you next time. Bye now. Bye for now.